come in, they're just going to crash out on the woodland floor somewhere. So yeah, if you don't mind roughing it, you can join us. But everything else is booked. Yeah.
There you go. That's perfect for you, Alan. You're the survivalist. You could just rock up and sleep by a tree, right?
That sounds exactly like the kind of thing I would do, especially after having a few beers.
Yeah, well, there'll be plenty of beers, but no, it always sells out real quick, within a day or so, because obviously only a small site. But yeah, no, it should be good.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm totally, all the tent fails I've had. You're not gonna get one of those videos because I'm in the Bothy, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. You're right in there. Yeah.
Excellent. Just having a look through the comments. It's an open forum tonight, gents. So anything you want to talk about, feel free to bring it up. If Putin's fighting Trump in Alaska or whatever takes your fancy, follow the Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska. Putin already looks furious. He walks around looking furious. I don't think that tells us anything right now.
Yeah, that's just his demeanor, isn't it, Putin? I know Trump is a deal breaker, and he's a businessman. He likes making deals, but the thing with Trump and America, it's always their interest, at heart, isn't it? Whatever's best for them.
Such a strange setup they've got going on. I mean, does anybody else notice how much Putin is just mocking everybody?
Oh yeah.
I mean, everything from what was it? He's foreign minister or defense minister wearing that CCP jumper, the old Soviet thing. And
was he really?
Yeah. And they even announced what they were having for their dinner on the flight over. Chicken Kiev.
Kiev, weren't it?
I mean, come on. And then the list of people that he's got at the meeting, which are just all business orientated people who are of interest to Trump's personal interests.
Yeah,
it's perfectly primed just to stroke his ego so that the Russians can go away saying, we've got something out of this. It's so bizarre.
He's already got something out of it.
Oh, he's got everything. Yeah,
I mean, he'd show up and actually say, "Hey, you all thought I wouldn't. I'm here now."
Yeah, he's back on the world stage, and the whole meeting in Alaska thing. That a state that used to be part of Russia that was sold to the Americans by the Russians during the Crimean War.
Yeah,
I mean,
once he gets there, can he annex it back? Is that what his plan is?
You know what? The same logic that he's been going on about with Ukraine, he could technically make with Alaska. It was once part of Russia way before. Yeah. It had native people on it that he could claim were Russian to some extent because they were, of Siberian descent. All of that kind of ancestral stuff and pre-claim stuff and all that is the exact same argument that he's making for Ukraine.
Yeah,
we don't need more pretense for war.
Yeah, I just don't think Trump is aware of the irony of all of this stuff. It's incredible.
He's a very clever bloke, Putin. He wouldn't got where he is now without being very, very good at his job.
He's very, very clever, and he's been there a very long time. Absolutely nobody on the American side has any Russian experts, which is also a notable thing. Not a single person on his detail knows anything about Russia.
Yeah, and I don't think they give him a lot of credit, these Americans and like even the British diplomats. I don't think they give him enough credit. And I think that's why he can run rings around a lot of them and seem to get what he wants.
I think the ones that know him probably do, but they don't publicize it because they don't want to give him any more of a boost.
Yeah.
Has he not just realized though he can push as much as he wants because mutual assured destruction is only happening if someone launches something like a nuke, and as long as he does the conventional war, then the West won't retaliate in that same sort of way, so he could just keep pushing. It's just like, I'll just take another inch, I'll just take a bit more, bit more.
He's got absolutely everything to gain here. Not only is he going to get some sort of economic benefit from this, he can now say that he's joined the world stage, and look, they've called me back, I was in the United States of America, and this whole thing about some sort of land swap. What do you mean land swap? Well, Ukraine hasn't got any land to swap. There's no occupied Russian territory that Ukraine could possibly give to Russia. So what they actually mean is what Russia has now, just concede. And then at some point, a couple of years from now, they'll probably just finish the job, which is exactly what they did in Georgia.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to concede Donetsk and Luhansk and they draw a line at that. And obviously not everybody's going to be happy, but when it comes to any deal, if both parties are unhappy in any deal, it's usually a good deal. If one person's happy and one person isn't, then it's not a very good deal for one person, isn't it?
I actually think this is a perfect opportunity for the UK and Europe to exert their influence, because it doesn't matter what Trump says. It's not up to Trump.
No.
You know, what land is given to Russia. That's up to Ukraine. You know, that's up to them. They have a whole system in place where they have to have a referendum to, you know, give up any kind of territory or redraw borders or anything like that. So it's not up to the Americans to do that. The Americans no longer give the majority of the finance and technical ability to Ukraine now anyway, because Trump stopped that and the Biden money is almost ran out anyway. So Europe now pays more towards the defense of Ukraine than the United States does. Europe is a very collectively just as powerful as the United States in terms of influence and economic wealth, really. And if you look at it from a few different angles.
But we've also underfunded our own militaries for so long.
That's for sure true, but I mean, how long would it take us to get back to a war-type economy? We're already ramping it up just now. It could happen within a few years, really.
The economy could, yes, but actually manufacturing and creating and doing and putting the stuff in place could take a long time. And there's always going to be the issue with recruits. Where's the incentive anymore? When I joined up, and I'm sure when Lee joined up, there was much more incentive to go and fight for your country than there ever has been today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll start seeing the manufactured incentive coming in over the next couple of years. The whole patriotism thing, they'll put some sort of spin on it that makes it more appealing, you know, for people to join up and things like that. But
yeah, and one thing European countries they lack is leadership as well. Unlike America, it's full of fractions. Europe in it, and obviously that's what you're going to get in different countries. There's no clear leadership in Europe, in the European Union. And,
there's no strong leaders there for sure, but the United States is completely fractured. It's literally a point of, I mean, it's a binary system over there. It's you're either a Trumper or you're not. You know,
but if they go to war, they go to war. You know, like with Europe, it's different. You know, with the different armies and different
Well, we saw that with that Sky News War Games, so when they tried to enact Article 5 as part of that, and it's the reality check of it's not a guaranteed thing. Countries can go, whoa, no, I'm not getting involved. So suddenly that mighty power that might be the same size as a collective as the USA is, all got its own self-interest and self-preservation to worry about. Horace Rumpel 9263 said, at least Trump is trying to get talks of peace going. None of the European warmongering anchors are doing jack, he says. So.
But you got to look at Putin as well. He's going to be there for a number of years unless someone bumps him off. Trump has only got another 3 years left, isn't he? When his term is finished, Putin can probably go back and do whatever he wants again, because guaranteed to be some sort of Democrat in charge after Trump. So he can just bide his time. Trump has got to do something now in his tenure. He's got to make his mark, isn't he? And he's probably thinking, this is it. If I could be the world leader and bring peace, that would be his swan song, I would have thought.
Yeah. Putin is 72 years old, though. So, I mean, he only has so much time.
Don't look it, though, does he?
He don't look like he's aged a lot in the last
pretty sharp.
15, 20 years.
I think all this rumor about him being unwell, it was just rubbish. Yeah, I think he's sharp as a tack, that bloke.
Yeah.
And he looks more mentally competent than the pensioners that have been in charge of the United States over the last 8 years.
At least he don't trip falling down the stairs.
Well, Biden practically wasn't there at all for the last 2 or 3 of his premiership.
Oh no, it was sad. It was anyone with like parents or grandparents in that it was sad to watch. He shouldn't have been in power. He'd lost it. So yeah, that's a shame. But Trump's trying to change the rules so he can run it again. Interesting. The other way is, of course, if it's a wartime state, then there wouldn't be a presidential election, right?
They can postpone it. Yeah, for so long.
I don't think Trump will try and run again. I think JD Vance will be the next president, to be honest. And that's what I think.
I mean, that's a bold statement, because usually it's Republican, then Democrat, then Republican, then Democrat, because everyone always wants change and everyone wants things to change, and it's the same over here, right?
Yeah.
We've ended up in the situation we're in, no matter what political allegiance you have, because it was getting so bad with one. People thought, oh, well, we'll try the other.
Yeah. I think
it
the
was
Democrats.
Mark Twain said about voting, they give you the illusion of choice. If it really mattered, if it really made a difference, they wouldn't let you do it. With voting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's what he said. So yeah, they give you illusion of choice, but there's no choice really. They're all the bloody same, to be honest.
The thing is, I think the Democrats in the United States are now so far behind. They're just. I don't think they're going to win the next president. I don't think they'll be anywhere near it. I don't think they might even be out for the next. They could be out for 20 years. And if I was American, I would be a Democrat. So I mean, I don't really. I follow American politics, but I lean more towards the Democratic side than the Republican side. And even I can see, the writing's on the wall for those guys just now, just because they went so far with the whole woke stuff. That's alienated so much of that country now that nobody takes them seriously. You only have to take a look at the next likely mayor of New York as a full-on nutcase Marxist, communist.
Yeah, well, that's like what we got in this country, isn't it?
Well, yeah, to a lesser extent.
Can I just say that I'm seriously outnumbered here? I've got Welsh, Scottish. I'm literally holding St. George's Cross all on my own here on this live. How you doing, Brian?
All good, mate. How's things, guys?
All
Right,
good,
yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
All good. Enjoying the weather. Sweating me knackers off like everyone else. So
We
I
just
fight
need,
with a chainsaw and lost.
we need somebody from Northern Ireland to make the team.
hang on. Sorry, Ben, did you just fail number one rule of prepping of nearly don't die? What did you just say?
Oh, accident with a chainsaw?
Yes, that's not a way to go.
Well, let's be honest. I was trying to do the garden and I got a little bit annoyed with the chainsaw. The teeth kept jamming up. So try to do a bit of maintenance. And the one thing you don't test it when you're trying to fix the belt. Well, the chain, sorry, not the belt, the chain.
Try a Flymo for cutting the grass, mate. Chainsaws aren't very good for that.
No.
Just throwing it
I
out
had
there.
to get down and do the rose bush because the missus wanted it completely gone. So I thought,
It must be some size of rose bush.
It was huge at the back.
Was it like a miniature chainsaw? It can't be a real proper chainsaw.
One I had off Amazon, one of those micro.
Was it one of those 24-volt lopper things?
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right, okay.
I don't pass when there was a chainsaw.
You were getting you were putting a micro chopper in about an overgrown bush.
All right. Got to make it look all pretty out the back.
Mike knows where I'm going.
Everyone knows where you're going, Brian. We just try and avoid the street.
He's only been
We
here
have
a
a
few minutes.
question. We have a question from Amphia. Russia has a perimeter that would have the equivalent of Project Sundial as a logical component of perimeter to solve the 1983 Colonel Stanislav Petrov problem.
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that.
Please enlighten me.
No, I don't. I haven't got a clue what that
I've no idea what any of that means.
Anybody know?
It sounds impressive, though, but I don't know what any it means.
Do you know what that is all about, Lee?
No.
No. You're on your
Same
own.
as the rest of us.
This is why you need to join the panel, Amphia, not just, type random thesaurus. Magic Acres is in the house, one of our American friends. Just like Ukraine cancelled all elections, Trump won't do that. He just likes to freak everyone out. There you go. Can we compete against these dictators who can make 50-year plans as opposed to 4-year cycles? It's a really good point, isn't it?
It's a very good point.
It is a really good point. But I think we could. I think we could compete against it because of us obviously having our NATO allies.
There's still never any common ground for what the previous party puts in place.
No.
Sunak tried to bring in conscription. Obviously, that was a last-minute attempt to grab a right-wing vote grab. That didn't work. It got axed instantly. And all the party in power does is just want to blame the previous party. It's as simple as that, and make themselves wealthy along the way.
It's actually it's the only good argument for the deep state. is the idea that there's some sort of state mechanism in the background that is transcends government, regardless of which political party's in power. That's kind of got a bit of an overview of what's going on.
Money. That's what's in the background that transcends all government. Money.
Can I make a quick point about something that propped up in one of the comments earlier, mate?
Go for it.
There's an unusual amount of people get bent out of shape about any subject that encroaches on politics, on prepping, and I don't know why, because they're so closely related. Because my taxation and my ability to buy things to support my preps or just to run a house is largely dictated by who's in power. Whether or not I have any power in 10 years' time will be dictated by who's in power for the next 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth, from your food prices to inflation control and banking policy. So I don't understand why people get upset when we occasionally chat about politic-related issues on a prepping channel, because they're related.
This is the UK Prepper Network open mic night that we do every week when we can. Sometimes we skip it, but it's the open mic night. It's what you want to talk about. If you want to come on here and ask about the best way to filter your water, the best way to stave off radiation poisoning, that's the questions. But they come in and they ask these questions. What can we do but answer them?
The thing is,
no, it's a fair point. Sorry, mate, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, it actually reminds me of a common argument I hear as well, the whole stay in your lane argument. Now, the stay in the lane argument is you should only pay attention, you should only comment on the things that you are, your focus of expertise is. Why are you talking about Russia if you're not some sort of expert in Russia? Why are you talking about defense if you don't work for the defense industry? Why are you talking about finance if you're not, some sort of financial expert?
That messes us all up, Alan, because one of the things we always say on the fireside is none of us are experts in any of this.
Exactly.
We're all willing to learn.
It's not just. If
I had to focus on my lane of expertise, it would be beer and Sunderland. It's nothing to do with prepping,
Yeah, I mean the problem I've got with the argument is I don't trust the people who claim to be experts in things anyway. I mean, who are these experts? Because we all seen the pandemic issue. All the experts were saying a particular thing then at a particular time that then changed. Some
say experts, some say godfathers. It depends what you're thinking is,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an expert at anything. There's literally no subject that I'm expert in. There's some subjects I know a lot about because I spend a lot of time focusing on them and researching them. I would never claim to be an expert in any of these things though, and it's all just opinion, really.
Expertise comes with experience, isn't it? That's what a lot of it comes down to. It's having experience for a certain amount of time, either being trained or, like, say, doing whatever you're expert in for a certain period of time. A lot of people are YouTube experts in it.
I mean, for sure. I mean, if you've got
all right, Lee, no need for the digs, charming.
I mean,
you know what I mean? They've seen something on YouTube, whatever. They think, I can talk about that. I'm an expert now. But even though they've had no real world experience of it, not for any period of time, anyway.
100%.
What Lee just said, there's the textbook definition of what the competent person would be deemed to be, and the HSE guidance on it's like 72 pages, but basically it's nearly word perfect. What Lee just rhymed off there is it can be by training or time in service and role. So that's 100% spot on.
I have no qualifications for the job sector I do, but I have 30 years experience in it. So
and then you could have someone doing the same job who's just come out of university and got all the degrees, but they're nowhere near as expertise as yourself with all that experience.
Exactly. Sorry, I just interrupt you for a second because we got a super chat. Woo! Everyone disrespects experts until they need a heart transplant and they want a surgeon. There you go. It's a good point. But I'd rather have the surgeon that's done 50 operations than the one that's just qualified. Just throwing that out there.
But it's not about disrespecting experts. I mean, if you've got cancer or you need a heart transplant, speak to a cancer doctor or a surgeon, a heart surgeon. Those are the people you have to refer to. But to be excluded from a conversation or a debate because that's not your primary focus of expertise is absolutely a race to the bottom, especially when it comes to politics, because politics isn't about individual experts. Who would be the experts in politics? The politicians? That's just ridiculous. Even the politicians, by their very definition of their job, don't agree with each other. That's literally how our system works. So if I was sat here beside Tony Benn or something, and somebody was to ask me a question about socialism, his expertise and his great experience and raft of knowledge, you would think should trump anything I say. But does it?
I thought you said Mr. Ben there. I thought that's another prep we know. You don't need
He's not been on in ages.
You don't need a surgeon. What you need is some colloidal silver and a multi-tool. I'll do your heart transplant, not a problem. So, that's not medical advice, YouTube. Please don't kick us off.
What do you think will happen then with this meeting? What's your consensus,
nothing.
folks?
Nothing. I genuinely think nothing will happen. I think Trump thinks nothing will happen either. He's going to come in and say, we want you to do this. And he's going to say, well, I'm not going to do this because I want to take this. And that's it. They're going to walk each way.
Have you noticed that Trump tends to follow or agree with the last person he spoke to?
Yeah, I've noticed that.
That's the problem. That's why at the moment you've got European nations trying to get together and make a little bit of influence by, they're putting out their not so subtle messages because they're trying to influence Trump, because Trump does tend to walk away from literally any meeting with anybody he's been with on that person's side. A couple of exceptions to the rule. There's been a couple of times where that hasn't been the case. He did walk out of a meeting with Kim Jong-un once, and he did have that famous sort of where he was putting down Zelensky in the White House. But for the most part, he tends to sort of just think, we've made a great deal here, and I really respect this guy now, no matter what.
No, but that's what he is. He's a deal maker, and let's be fair, he's an entertainer.
Yeah,
from The Apprentice and stuff like that. He knows how to play the cameras, he knows how to work the crowds, and he knows business. And that's where his expertise lies. If we talk about expertise, people say, oh, yeah, but he lost millions. Name a good businessman that hasn't. Yeah?
Exactly.
If 3 or 4 businesses fail, you've learned something each time. It's just...
I mean, you've got to hand it to him. For us, there's lots of anti-Trumpers out there, but the guy's a winner. I mean, he basically wins everything he does in life when you think about it. I mean, he is a billionaire. He is famous. He's president. I mean, you can't win any harder than what he's won twice.
And let's be fair, when it comes to wives, he's definitely punching above his weight.
Yeah. What he isn't is a politician, and
no, he's not.
And that's why I like about him, to be honest, because politicians are slimy and they spin things. He just says what he thinks, and if people make a mockery of it, so be it. You don't really care. Who would care if you had all that money and then you had that power? You wouldn't care what you said, would you really? I wouldn't anyway.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Even
though I kind of fall on the Democrat side, I was so glad that Trump won over the Democrats, because the alternative to him, to me, was just horrendous for the world, not just for the United States. The continuation of the woke virus, which permeated everything.
The woke virus, like that.
that was devastating to everybody, and it affected this country greatly as well. So I was so glad when
I've got the cure for the woke virus right here.
Yeah, I've had a few of them as well.
I thought it was a kick up the arse.
To pull this into prepping, I know that's crazy to think about it, but to pull this into prepping for a sec, Elusive Dartmoor had a question, which we'll go around the table on. What preps do you still need? And we'll leave the last question for Brian, but what preps do you still need? Ben?
Straight off the bat, first things you're going to need is your preps. Water. How many people are there of you?
I think he's asking personally what you still need, like what you've not got yet.
That's what I mean for us as a family. Because there's me, Mrs. RP, and the 3 little ones. We've estimated 60 litres of water. So at 10 litres each. Careful. Try not to drink too quick. Mrs. RP, everybody, even though she's not on camera. Sorry about that. I got a few notes for
Die
this
quietly.
Yes. Yeah, Brian said, die quietly. No, all right then. So we've worked it out as 10 liters per person in our household. Food we still got to stock up on. So back to like a previous fireside, I believe it was, or a podcast about stock rotation, going through all the pantry, doing a rotation. Still got that to do. So stocking up through Costco or the Bookers, getting some freeze dried as well as some dehydrated. What do you call it?
Freeze dry is a great luxury, but that would always be after everything else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Stock everything you already eat. Don't
Yeah.
stock loads of spam if you can't stand the stuff. Yeah, stock everything you eat. The freeze dry you're not going to eat on a regular basis and rotate out. Because of the price of it over here. Unless you're going out hiking, it's a great thing for hiking in the little packs. But the big buckets that Brian got from Augustin Farms, he's not going to eat that all month and then top it up again. It's going to get set and forget. So yeah, just concentrate on regular food first, definitely.
Definitely. The other thing I still need to get, only because it's a replacement due to the last one getting lost through packing, is another manual radio.
Right.
So
like a hand crank. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a link for that on Amazon.
And I got a few links, which I don't know how to do them, but on one of the papers I wrote it down just in case. The one thing we've ordered recently, I'm still waiting for it to show up, is a do-in manual hand crank generator. It's 20 watts, 2 USB-A's to whatever USB-C or whatever cable you got. Between 3...
hand crank? Or is it one of the pedal ones?
No, it's a proper hand crank.
Oh, that's going to be a killer.
I'll drop it in the Discord after. I'll go straight over Amazon and drop it in the Discord in a sec. But it's £31 at the minute on Amazon. And it comes with 4 terminals, 2 positive, 2 negative. It's got a switch to go from between 3 volts to 15 volts. And it's a handy little recharge station for radios, phones, laptops, multi-purpose.
There you go, Brian. Brian, if you get rid of all your power banks and just get them, think how big you'll look like you've Arnold Schwarzenegger by the end of the month.
You've obviously not seen it, mate. It's basically a soft iron core with a magnet around it, and you just do this with it a lot, and it generates the power. That's how it works.
We don't even have to worry about net zero anymore. If we all get them, it's fine. Lee, this is going to be a stupid question. Is there any preps you've got left to get? I mean, you sell preps, so I very much doubt it. But personally, is there anything you want to add to the pile?
Not really. The only thing I'd like to do is learn a lot more about comms. I've been invited to go to the local amateur radio club. Well, I say locals in Brecon, 20 miles away, to learn more about ham radios and all that. I'm not that clued up about it. I've got plenty of radios and all that, but it's using them. So the only preps I got to get, other than I would like to get a firearms certificate, but I don't want to mention too much down there. But is learn more about radios. And like I say, I've got CB set up. I've got ham radios, all different types of radios. But it's the knowledge of people come in the shop all the time and they ask me about ham radios. And I tell them the little bit of knowledge I know, which is not a lot. So I'd like to learn more about that.
Yeah.
As physical preps, no, I'm pretty much well covered.
I mean, that's the best thing. Skills are the one thing that can't be confiscated, can't be taken away, and you can't be separated from if you're on holiday, right? So skills is the best prep to get anyway, no matter what that is. Brian, please don't say power banks. Please don't say. Is there anything else you need to get apart from a freeze dryer and land?
Those two are aspirational. The freeze dryer I could buy, but I just don't think it's worth the money, mate, because
it is.
It's not, though, because if I bought it, no, because you're not getting it when I'm finished with it. It's not worth it to me, put it that way, to spend $4,000 on it, plus the oils. The power side of it's free, so that's fine. But once I bought in good quality meat, chicken, different things, prepped it, freeze dried it, got the Mylar oxygen absorbers, put it in boxes, it's burst. And it's not like you could do anything else with it. To open it up and sell it or anything, it's no worth it. You don't have the economy of scale.
It's an investment, Brian. You never have to pay for meat again. If you've got the freeze dryer, I will turn up with 100% meat. You can have 50% and I'll have 50% and we'll freeze dry it. So you get free meat.
Funny enough, is a lad I know, Johnny, he's in Brecon. He bought a freeze dryer probably about 18 months, 2 years ago, and he lets everybody else use it as well. They come there, they do trades, and they'll bring their ingredients, and he charge them a little bit to cover the cost of electric and whatever, and then they use it because, like Brian said, once you've got all your kit, your food and freeze dried, what do you do with it then? So he lets other people use it with either a trade or a bit of expense. So if you're in the community and other people can use it, then it's worth getting in, perhaps, isn't it? If you're sharing it about. If it's for yourself,
if there was enough people near me, it might be worthwhile. But even yourself, unless you're actually up here, even for yourself, Mike, there's no point.
I'm on the way. I'm saving.
Yeah. Aspirationally, that's what. Sorry, on you go.
You can buy a lot of freeze-dried food for the cost of the freeze dryer. And
this is it.
You can probably kit yourself out for X amount of years with that sort of money. Without
a sec. Sorry to cut you off, Lee. Mike, I just sent a link to that generator in the Discord in this week's preps.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, Lee.
No, that's right. Yeah, I'm done.
What I'd like to do is the FREC 3 and the FREC 4 medic courses.
Okay.
That's what I'd really like to do, because I've done loads of first aid courses, but only to a level. And it's basic first aid, so no trauma, other than basic, your basic health and safety in the workplace one, and also the wind turbine rescue one as well, which was a bit better. But other than that, I really would like to do more first aid, more advanced first aid training. And I really don't know a lot about comms, like Lee was saying. So that skills, more skills than physical stuff now. I've not maxed out, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, cool. Alan, last one for you. Any preps that you still want to get?
I think when it comes to stuff, we'd all like more stuff. I think the beauty of being a survivalist as opposed to a prepper is I rely less on things. As I go more for the skill set than the stuff. That said, though, from the prepper point of view, I'm very short when it comes to home power. So I've been watching loads of your videos, Brian, and I'm completely convinced that I need to go down the route of having, preparations for power and things like that. Because
the Pepsi Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I don't. If the lights go out for me, they're pretty much out. I mean, I've got a couple of hours at best, and I wouldn't be able to run a computer or anything like that. I'll tell you one thing, though. There's one gadget I've been looking at. I don't normally go in for gadgets or anything, okay? But there's one gadget which I'm surprised nobody seems to be talking a lot about online or in the prepper communities and all this kind of stuff. I'll put a link to it just now, but there's a water purifier called the H2 Go Prime water purifier. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this.
Never heard it, mate.
This thing will blow your mind if you know anything about water purification and the things that you need to go into for that. Okay, I'll just post a link for it just now. But basically what it is, just very quickly, is an electrical device. So you charge it up, okay? You put salt into it, a little bit of salt. It's like half a teaspoon or something. And then a few drips of water. And it makes pure, it makes sodium chloride. Basically, it makes bleach. It makes bleach from salt. And you can increase or decrease the concentrate of it in order to purify water. And all you require is salt. It's game-changing when you think about it. You could purify thousands of gallons of water with this thing with nothing but table salt.
I've never seen it.
I've posted a link to it. I only came across this about a month ago, and I'm going to go and buy it because it looks amazing to me. And if it can genuinely do what it claims to do, and it does look like it, that one gadget alone could be a lifesaver, an absolute lifesaver.
I look forward to you getting it and letting us know how it works.
It does cost about $120 or something, but I mean, honestly, take a look at the YouTube videos of it and stuff. It looks amazing.
Brian, they're down to $3,000. That's a no-brainer now. That's you could sell half your power banks and get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'll never say never. I genuinely swithered, but I bought another couple of power banks this year, and the solar panels. And then I doubled the solar in the house and doubled the batteries. Built the workshop, and then she's going to Florida, or we're going to Florida, and we're doing a cruise. I can't do anything else this year. It's just too tight.
Well, he
What
says
else
that.
can
World
go?
War,
He
World War
says-
3 will just have to wait.
He says that, and then he puts a message out about 2 weeks later. Guys, I've just bought some land and a freeze dryer. It was in impulse.
Well,
it came
I sent
as
you-
part of a Pepsi bottling factory.
I'm going to try and get along to look at that strip of land that I'd messaged you about over the weekend. I'm going to pop down, have a look at it, and see how viable that is, because that's cheap.
It's good, yeah.
If it was closer, it'd be better, but if it was closer, it'd be more expensive.
Yeah,
Get land.
but it's not
Make sure it's got
difficult to
sporting
get
rights.
to. That's the thing, right?
Sorry, Alan?
Sporting rights. That's what you want to look
it
for when
does.
you're looking for land.
It does.
It's 7 acres for a pretty good price.
Don't give too much away; they'll be outbid.
Aye. And it's... I'd messaged my wife. I'd sent Mike the message. I was like, how much do you love me? She's like, what do you want? And I sent her a link, and it's like, I'd really like this. Right, you arrange the finance and I'll pay it. I was like, right, okay then.
She's a keeper. Don't tell too much about the land, otherwise Lee will be
No.
opening the bug out Scotland branch from under your nose. I was talking to Lee about. You don't mind sharing, Lee, with Brian and everyone. When you first started that place, it was like a shed, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, there was an underground water reservoir, roughly 8 meters wide by 11 meters long, and like I say, totally underground. Obviously, it was a tin roof. Nothing else here on site at all in the woods. So, when we bought the wood, then we established a road and a yard because we had a felling license for the trees, and we dug out the front end of this water reservoir, so it looked like a shed. So a few years later on, when we got the workshop up and running and the other buildings, we applied for planning permission to turn this shed into a house. And we had to establish a business here first and all that. And yeah, we got permission for the house, and this is where I live now. So the bottom half of the house, which was this water reservoir originally, the walls are like 3 foot thick. So it's partially underground.
Oh, wicked.
Yes. And so yeah, and like my little, what the kids call the prepping room, my little bunker's on the side of it as well. So yeah, it you can build these things on land which hasn't got any buildings beforehand, but you've got to provide a reason for being there. Usually some sort of business or excuse for being there. Unless you go down the 12-year rule, you build something and no one reports it or says anything for about I think it's less than 12 years now.
But it's risky, isn't it? Even if it's less than,
Yeah.
even if it's 6 years. If you were there 5.5 years and then someone reported you, that would be gutting.
and you can't obstruct it in any way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy that built that house and put all them hay bales around
That's
the
right.
castle.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we're lucky in a sense, and a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of time, but we got what we wanted in the end.
Yeah. And it's
That sounds
awesome.
awesome.
So if people haven't been to the bug out shop, it's worth the trip. Yeah. Lee does loads of great videos, but it still doesn't do it justice of actually being there. And it's all the little stuff that he sells, like containers and stuff that you wouldn't even think of to do your preps and stuff like that. All the way up to full-on crossbows, blades, everything like that. Everything you could think of being a prepper is down there. And if you go to the bug out weekender, 10% off, right, Lee?
That's right. Yeah.
There you go. So come and sleep in the hammock or up against propped up against the tree, and you get 10% off as well. Bonus. Happy Homestead. How much of your prepping involves keeping things secret versus building community? This is an interesting question because this is the shtick we get a lot of times through being on YouTube. Me and Brian's probably answered this a million times. If you don't mind, Lee, I'll come to you first again because you've probably had the same sort of thing. Oh, I'll just come to your place. I'll just come and get your stuff. How much of it do you think it is legitimate and how much is just bluster?
I never worry about it too much. I've heard a few other preppers go on about funky prepper. No, don't tell what you got. You should keep it secrets, and it's the first rule of prepping. Don't tell anybody. I've heard from experience, boys who went to like Bosnia and that. I didn't go myself. And out there, they ransacked. Once it was all cut off, they ransacked every house, no matter if there was a prepper or not. So if there's a breakdown society, they don't care if you're a prepper or a postman. They come to the house, and what they've done out there, they went to the biggest houses first. They went to the richest people's houses first, but they went to everyone. So you could hide away and not tell everybody what you got. But if you're bugging into your house and there's a breakdown society and there's gangs roaming around the streets, they're going to come knocking on the door anyway. Yeah, even if you're secret squirrel, they're going to come and knocking on the door.
So in that respect, building community is probably better, right?
Yeah. Community is key, isn't it? We've gone through First World War, Second World War, and people bonded together, and they formed communities and they helped each other out. Yes, we're not in the same country now as we was then, but growing up, especially where I am in a rural area, everybody knows everybody, and so if something really bad happens, we'd probably stick together. And I like to think so anyway. And if not, I got plenty of crossbows I can defend myself with.
I don't know whatever you mean. We don't say things like that. You've got lots of target sport goods for playing target sports. Clearly,
that's the one.
That's the one.
So, like I said, I never worry about being top secret about what the preps and all that. It doesn't worry me at all. Yeah.
Brian, you were, because when we first met, you didn't want to be on camera. You didn't want anything like that. Why the change?
It wasn't so much for the security side of it. It was more for the employment side of it. So, and I don't advertise what I do for a living, and I don't advertise my employer. So I keep that side of my life separate.
Yeah.
So I'm not that fussed about that. And I noticed that people don't want to see a set of hands on a screen. They want to see somebody and interact with a face, even if they're plug ugly like me. So they want to see you and hear from you and talk to you. Mm-hmm. And it's the risk versus reward scenario for me. It's better to have more people prep a little than one or two that prep a lot. And there's... If you've got a lot of people have got a lot of little preps, they're less likely to be a threat to you in a short-term shit hits the fan situation because they're sorted. But if nobody's got anything and anything goes wrong, then you've made yourself more of a target. So it's better to talk to people and try and promote it as even the social side of prepping, talking to one another, meeting up, learning some new skills, having a chuckle and a laugh. I mean, the prepper weekend we were down in the Midlands, we spent 2 nights just ripping the piss out one another and laughing all night. It was fantastic.
And as terrible YouTubers forgot to record anything.
So that's how I look at it. And for the threats side of it, I've lived here all my life. I know everybody round about me. I don't feel threatened, and I do enough hobbies that are mutually supportive to prepping that I really don't feel threatened. So I'm quite happy.
You'll defend Pepsi with his life.
No, I'll defend Pepsi with somebody else's life.
Ben, you on the new front of starting a channel, you're just getting up into this, so you've not enjoyed the trolls and death threats like I've had, and I'm sure these guys have had as well yet. Does it worry you, or do you worry about putting your face out there, putting the brand of a prepper on you? Because you're in a not just a house like in an urban area, you're in a block of flats, right?
Well, no, we're in council. We're in council housing, so we're in a house, but it's only a 3-bed, and it's fully conjoined. It's not semi-detached or anything.
Right. Okay.
But so we got a garden. We got no front garden, but no, it don't bother me. I mean, at the end of the day, I've never really cared how I look, how I sound. I'm just one of these where it's like I'm just your average guy. I'm bored. I prep, and at the end of the day, it's like Lee said. When STHF. SHTF, yeah, that's right. Oh god, I can't say the abbreviation half the time. It's not going to be a case of
say shift.
Are they going to come? Yeah, shift. It's not a case of are they going to come for me and my family, and if they do, when and why. It's going to be a case of it's going to happen. Am I prepared enough?
Yeah,
probably not. Can you be prepared enough?
And this is me, and when Lee came onto the podcast with me. Yeah. It changed my mind on being bug out ready, because he made a very good point as if there's 10 of them, no matter how well equipped you are, you're still only one pair of hands. Are you going to fight off 10, or are you going to get out of there? Are you going to put your family at risk by fighting people off, or are you going to bug out? And it kind of changed my persuasion on that side of things.
Yeah.
Come to you last, Alan, because you are adamant when we first met. I'm not a prepper. I'm a survivalist. I'm not a prepper. Now that you're on a prepper channel, are you worried about being branded a prepper? And is it worth building the community over keeping secret?
I'm not worried about the branding of it. You know, the reason I don't call myself a prepper is because, I mean, this will be something we'll for sure go into in some other conversation at some point. I'm a stickler for language, so there is a difference between a survivalist and a prepper. I know there's overlap, but there is genuinely a difference.
That's the difference. Stuff.
Largely stuff. If you take it purely from a YouTube point of view, most of my videos are outdoors. That's the only difference. You know, preppers tend to be indoors, from what I see.
Alan's homeless.
As opposed to what he's saying, I'll read between the lines. What he's saying, as opposed to Mike, who sits on a chair and steals a living talking about this shit, I go out and do it, is what he's saying.
Well, I genuinely, I will answer the question, but I genuinely don't see one being an advantage over the other. They both do something different, and I think if you focus entirely on one of them, you're missing massively out, which was always my problem. I spent most of my time just focusing on wilderness survival. That was the only thing I ever did, and I've missed so much of the prepping side of the skill set out. You know, I don't know much about, you know, energy or radio telecommunications or setting up networks or any of that kind of stuff. That's the point of me being on these kind of channels now and on Discord and things like that, because I'm trying to build my knowledge there. I'm not worried about being noticed on the internet. I think if you have a YouTube channel, you at some point decide I'm going to be a public figure to that extent. None of us are trying to be famous on YouTube, because this isn't the subject you would do. You know, you would be doing Fortnite games or cat videos or whatever. You wouldn't be doing survival and prepping. Even the biggest preppers, like, you know, the Canadian guys and all that, right, with a million subs. And SHTF situation, who the hell's going to recognize him? Probably nobody outside, you know, the million people across the world that watch him, you know. So I don't think that's a bit of an issue. There are some things that I keep confidential, though. Like, I do have bug out locations with caches. I've spent 3 years building caches. That makes me slightly different from a lot of other survivalists and puts me more into the prepper type and into the prepper zone, you know. So I have quite large caches, several of them, and I keep the locations of them secret. I do plan on making videos about them, but I'm very cautious about how do I make the video without giving away the location. You know?
Just don't give them the what 3 words. Other than that, people are useless at finding things.
One of the problems with Scotland is you only need to see a hill in the background and you can probably work out where it is. You know, it's one of those kind of places.
Hawkins can. He's scary like that, so just be careful.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, from a keeping things private point of view, I've been on YouTube now for a lot of years, even though I'm a very, very small channel. And I've seen some of the backlash from revealing certain things. So there's some things now I just don't talk about. I don't talk about my current employment. I don't talk about my background too much, you know. And there's nothing special anyway. It's, you know, I wasn't in the SES or anything, and I wasn't, you know, I'm not in some high flying job or anything like that.
Listen,
so there's nothing special there. But
if you're going to be on YouTube and a prepper, you just have to know a guy. Yeah, everyone knows a guy.
Yeah. As long as you know the guy on the balcony, you're all good.
We all know the guy on the balcony.
It's sensible to take some precautions, but you don't. I don't think you have to be completely incognito. But I mean, if I was going to give somebody advice to be 100%, you know, prepper or survival oriented, then I would say don't go near YouTube at all. Don't go public about anything ever. You know,
I know, but that breeds the lone wolf mentality, and the lone wolves. It's every single Hollywood film where the survivors are always just a random group of people that happen to have been thrown together by chance, and they always come across a prepper's stash because the prepper was a lone wolf and he, you know, tripped himself on a nail and he died. Lone wolf is not the way to go with things. Lee, there's a quick question there before we carry on. Is the bug out weekend suitable for little kids under 5?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. We don't do anything too extreme. It's mainly just a get together, a social event, and I open up the stage as it were to anybody who wants to do talks or demos. I did plan a bit of a walk last year, and there was kids on that. We went up the local hill for a bit of a walk. But yeah, it's open to anyone. Yeah.
I'll do a talk if you want to put up with my rambling, Lee. I don't mind doing something.
Yeah, so there's a few boys interested in doing it, and all I do, I put a board out, and they just write their names on the board, what they're going to talk about, and what time. Yeah, that's what I usually do. Yeah,
I'll do a talk how to locate Brian's house. So
and all the reasons why you shouldn't.
I hear there's a bit of leakage, isn't it?
I've fixed the leak. I
All
hope.
good now.
I hope I fixed the leak.
Fingers crossed for you, bud.
not on the new shed, Brian, is it?
Yeah, mate, it's leaked more
Oh,
times than Mike's tents.
Alex,
Let's not exaggerate. Thank you.
I got a question for you. You know, when you said you got your own, obviously, confidential caches and that,
Yeah.
would you say then, as a survivalist, it's going off Mike's point, like being either labeled a prepper or survivalist, would you say that being a survivalist, your thought process is different to a prepper and how you, like, in terms of bug out, because you're so used to being outdoors more, where preppers either bug in or bug out? Would you say that, like, your thought process in that regard is different to a prepper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, I mean, you'll always get one person who can say, well, I am this thing, I am that thing as well, and I do a bit of this. But if you're looking at something broadly, if you're looking at something from a big picture point of view, to my mind, and you guys might disagree, to me, a prepper is about sort of weathering the storm with what you have.
Yeah.
And a survivalist is more about getting through the storm with what they know.
I think it's a personal opinion on a lot of people. Like, I always said prepper, right? But probably before I got, started the channel and started reviewing stuff and getting even more and more stuff, I was probably closer to survivalist when it comes, because I think a lot of preppers, like you see on the American TV shows, they're like not physically able to get out of a house, but they've hoarded and hoarded and hoarded and hoarded stuff, but they've never looked at skills. Whereas I see my skill set as the number one prep I have.
Yeah.
So like you say, Alan, I think it's just down to wording. But I don't think I could label myself as 100% prepper, 100% survivalist. I think the whole thing's a crossover. Every prepper should be learning skills. If you don't learn any skills, no matter how much you stock, guess what? That's a clock. That's a countdown clock.
Yeah,
And
I think if you're in the mindset of bugging out, right, which should be the last case, just if you're bugging out, it means all your plans have failed. If you're bugging out, that's when you become a survivalist, is it? Because you've left your preps and your house and your security. Now you're out in the sticks, and you should be becoming a survivalist. Then you should be, and if you've got no skills, you're not going to survive very long, because you can't carry all your preps with you, can you? You can only carry so much. So there's the crossover. I mean, you don't have to be a survivalist to be a prepper, but if you're going to be a prepper and you're thinking bugging out, then you're going to have some sort of survival skills.
But how many preppers, Lee, have that as a plan in their head? Or if it comes to the worst case scenario, I'll bug out, and all they've ever done is a weekend camping at Haven holiday parks. You know what I mean?
Well, this is what I said on a video I'd done previously. A lot of people are thinking this romantic view of bugging out. Well, I got my bag full of gear. We've seen a little bit of it in Derby last week, didn't we? They're living in a bloody dream world, like, if you think you can just go out in all weathers and think, oh, that's right, I got my tent, I got my stuff. Yeah, forget about it. Yeah.
Well, we came up with Plan C while we're at the Midlands Outdoor Survival Meet. We sat around and said we can bug out with no kit. All of us can bug out with no kit. All we do is follow the hiker's trail up to the Highlands and get all the dead guys' kits who thought they could bug out to the Highlands.
So yeah, if you haven't got the skills or even the tenacity and the mindset, you're not going to last more than a couple of days, especially if the weather's crap, if it's wet and it's cold and all that. I've seen it in the army. The down, your what's the word? Well, it goes downhill pretty quick. People's can't think of the word now. Morale. Yeah, the morale goes down pretty quick, and yeah, when it turns bad, especially like say if it's cold and wet, no matter how many preps you got, if you're not in that mindset and you haven't got some sort of survival skills, yeah, you might as well forget about it.
You got to fortitude your mind against the elements and be able to not, like if you're bugging in, if you're trapped in the house with your family for say 30 days, say there was I'm going to go sort of a bit extreme, but say there was a radiation leak. I mean, Brian, you should know a bit about that. What's going on up there at the minute?
Yeah, jury's out on what that is.
But no, like if there's some kind of radiation leak somewhere and you're stuck in the house for 30 days, say you and your partner, if you got one, don't get along great. And there's a lot of like high tension. There's a lot of I need to get out. I can't stay in these walls anymore. If you haven't got the mindset to be able to,
So they're married then.
Yeah.
off you go, love. You don't need an NBC kit. You're fine. Your rage will protect you.
Take deep breaths, darling.
But it's like if you get those kind of moments, you've got to be able to diffuse that. Otherwise, no amount of prep, no amount of knowledge, and no amount of I'm going to calm it now, calm. It's going to work. Nothing's going to work.
We've said it before. We've said it before. Like plans don't survive first contact, do they? So
No.
I mean, and you've got to practice. What Lee's saying about morale is absolutely bang on the money.
Yeah.
And if you are a lone wolf, or it's just you and a family of people who don't prepare, so you're not only worrying about yourself, you've got to worry about all of them. You don't even worry about yourself. That comes after you worrying about your family. If you're doing absolutely everything for all of them, the stress that'll put you under is ridiculous. This is why community is best. This is why sharing stuff, getting partners involved and stuff like that. And I know it's a nightmare task sometimes, but not doing that alone is a morale booster. In the army, Lee, the morale booster was all the lads around you doing the same thing in the same shit, right? You pick each other up.
There is an extreme to each of the mindsets. On the prepper side, this is sort of a prepper who hasn't thought it through very well. The idea that you can just hoard as much resources as you possibly have, tons of food and tons of power banks and things, and put it all into one place and just live off that.
I feel so attacked right now.
But if that's the only thing that you're doing and you're not paying any attention to any kind of skill set, you're paying no attention to geopolitics, you're paying no attention to the world around you, you're paying no attention to anything else, any kind of survival skills, that stuff is just going to last as long as that stuff lasts, and you're just going to hope nobody comes and takes it. Now, it doesn't matter how ramble you are, eventually it's going to run out of stuff. Equally on the survivalist side, if you're talking about wilderness survival, by the way, I don't think a survivalist is just about wilderness survival. That's just one thing. But a wilderness survivalist, for example, the idea that he can just wander into the woods and then live off the land is batshit crazy. That's never going to happen.
It's romantic.
It's a fantastic idea, but I'll tell you that even in places like the tropics, it's incredibly difficult to do that. I've tried to do survival in most climates in the world, including the tropics, and obviously I'm from Scotland. I do most of my stuff in Scotland. I realistically, with nothing at all, if I did the whole naked and afraid thing and wandered off into the Cairngorms, if I wandered off into the Cairngorms, I honestly wouldn't make it past probably 6 or 7 weeks in the dead of winter. That's why I've got caches. And those caches are 1 month long caches. They have resources in them, but mostly it's food. I don't have water or anything, but I have the means to purify water, but it's basically just food and shelter and clothing for a month at a time.
Horrible image of you running about in a loincloth made out of squirrels, mate. It's not a good thing. I'm to hold in my head.
Trying to hunt wild haggis with the tourists.
I've tried it all.
Great Gala put a £5 super chat in, which is awesome. Says UK Urban Prep Survivalist, or UK Urban Pepsi for short. Oh, disgust me. You disgust me. A big shout out to Great Gala as well. This is why we have a community. Mrs. Urban Prepper found that the cream that she got off Mitch at the weekend really helped her feet, but all of a sudden she's broke out really bad. He even saw how bad it was. We've ordered Neosporin. It's still waiting to get a 3-day delivery. Has took 7 days so far. He drove from where he is to where I am to drop her off a tube. That's what community is about. That's what
Oh,
network's
legend.
about. There you go. So big shout out to him in his debt. He got himself a giant UK PN flag for his troubles. He's probably thinking, where the hell am I going to put this? But, you know, I wanted to shout him out for that one.
And to be fair, could I quickly just touch on one thing? I noticed as well when you said it was open mic and all, that is one of the topics within like news, and that is about prepping. And just like that, guys, another reason why you want to prep things that, you know, if you got a spare bit of cash on the side, you wouldn't necessarily think to prep, but something that could negate the effects of, say, a bad breakout on a cream rash or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, always make sure you double check your first aid kits, even if you don't fully prep and you're not a prepper. Just double check your first aid kits and just think to yourself, or if I do go out in like the sticks and I go and knock myself against some Japanese knotweed or something like that.
I've got every other cream and every other possible medical
walk-in
prep.
pharmacy.
Look at this behind me. I've got Lloyd's Pharmacy behind me. It's the only thing I didn't have.
Yeah,
and that's the choice.
And Gal, I gotta shout you out as well, like Mike guys. That just actually displays the whole focus on community prepping. It's not just a focus on building a community foundation to work upon for such as shit hit the fan moments, going down and doing trade routes and things like that. It's all about just coming together, utilizing your skills, your knowledge, and these are the outcomes.
Yeah, and we try and push this community. So this is the best thing. When I mentioned like they meet down at the bug out and the Scottish prepper meet and stuff like that. If you've never camped before, if you've never tried your kit before, if you've never done any of this before, it's the best place to do it, because people will have spare everything. People can repair everything. People will help you. If you go and do it at a Haven holiday camp, it's not going to happen. No. 3 people brought spare tents to the MOS meet because they knew I was coming and they'd seen my videos. I mean, I don't know whether to be flattered or insulted, but 3 people brought spare tents just in case. But that's what the community's all about, right? And Lee's now nervous because Brian said you've rented him a bothy, so it's probably going to end up burnt down. But don't worry, Lee. I promise I won't burn him down.
I'd make him sleep outside, but there'd probably be a flood and Noah's Ark would go past.
Yeah.
And no, it'd be good as gold in the bothy, I'm sure. There is a little wood burner in there, and if you can't light it, I can light it for him. That's fine. Yeah.
Look at that backhanded insult there.
You're literally playing with fire here.
And it's not only that; it's like the Pembrokeshire meet that just went by. You know, I know somebody, I won't name names in case they don't want to be mentioned, but I know somebody in our Discord who went and was the first time, I believe, if I remember reading the message correctly. And they said they did not feel like their feelings portrayed they would, which is they felt like they were going to be an outcast, that it's all one of those, oh, everyone's going to be nice, they're going to talk to me, but I'm going to still have that reservation of, oh, I don't feel too comfortable. You won't get that. In fact, it is the complete polar opposite.
Do you know what, Ben? We have somebody like that at every single meet. At the Scottish meet, there's a lad that is always in the chats for the lives and stuff like that, and he nearly turned his car around and didn't come. He had a lot of stuff going on in his own life and stuff like that, and he didn't know anyone, and he was already a bit nervous about it. Nearly turned around. After the weekend, he was so glad he didn't. And it was made to feel so well.
It's an unforgettable experience, guys. It really is. I mean, myself, I've got to get to one. I got issues at home that we got to get sorted first, but as soon as I can get my kit put together and get straight to a meet, I'll be at one to do my own little workshops for things. But definitely, guys in the chat, you guys who haven't been to one, go and do it. Put it on the bucket list.
And Lee's nearly sold out and Scotland's nearly sold out, so do it now. Do it now.
Don't be like me, one who's going to end up waiting until last minute, find out he's got a free day in his diary and then can't go.
All right, Brian's always got spooning room for you, Ben.
Always, mate. Always.
I've not ignored your questions, chat. I have starred them all. We'll get through them. Anyone on the panel, if you have to go at any point, just shout out. There's no obligations. So, in the film, The Days Ahead, which is the one I've just done the interview for the guy that produced it, the family had water bricks stacked up against the wall and said it would protect them. How does that work? And surely it renders the water undrinkable. No, it doesn't, and it's a natural radiation barrier, right? Brian, you were shaking your head. Do you want to jump in on that one?
No, I'm just saying that it doesn't. It's not going to irradiate the water.
No, it won't.
You're basically trying to put mass between you and the particles. So whether it's concrete, earth, sandbags, water, you're trying to create mass between you and any of the harmful radiation. And that's why you'll see them in bunkers. They'll put dog legs and stuff in the way so that it kind of attenuate down a pathway. So you basically want to put as much high density materials as you can between you and any potential fallout.
And in that particular scene, sorry, go on, Lee.
And depending what material it is, it will depend on how much of that mass you need. So, like, if it's soil, you need perhaps a meter of soil. But if it's concrete, you might only want 8 inches. So, depending on what material it is, you can stop that initial radiation.
Yeah, and in that scene, in that kind of scenario, when they're looking at that central refuge in the house, that's the plan for that is usually not for direct radiation coming through from the initial blast. It's usually based on fallout, and that is physical. It's the physical dust that comes down, and that's why you need to separate yourself away from that. So any sort of mass is good for that.
Fallout's only a problem if it's on something, isn't it? And I watched that video when he was washing his hands with a bit of water. It was a bit ridiculous, really. If he was out, and if it was fallout in there, you need to completely wash everything.
Yeah.
And that clothing's only ever any good for one-time use. And then he walks straight into the house with the NBC suit.
Well, this is the reason he separated it into the 3, and the 3 generally was supposed to be people that haven't got a clue, somebody who knows a bit but not the expert, and then the ultimate prepared guy who sold up and bought the ROC bunker sort of thing. So it was supposed to show mistakes as well as preps and common things. So
like with radiation, after about 2 weeks, 95% of the radiation is gone anyway. A lot of it's gone in the first few days.
Yeah, and it's an order of magnitude every so many hours, right?
Yeah, and fallout, depending on what sort of blast it is, if it's an air blast, it's not going to be that much fallout anyway.
Yeah,
because obviously fallout is from the dust it generates.
It pulls
from
up,
blast.
Most of them will be air blasts.
Yeah, and depending on where the wind's blowing, you might not have fallout in the area.
Exactly, and there is a few people out there that I've read put in comments, not on like YouTube, but throughout Reddit and things, saying, "Oh, if there is going to be a nuclear bomb dropped or anything like that in the future, it'll be just like Chernobyl." Don't get those mixed up, people. Chernobyl was a meltdown, and that was something that could have led to some really catastrophic results.
Yeah, and it's a different after effect as well. Where that land's not usable for hundreds of years, that's not the case with something like this. So it's completely different. I think the biggest threat for something like that is a dirty bomb.
Yeah,
which you would get fallout with, because it would probably be parked in a truck somewhere or a container offshore sort of thing. So that's the biggest threat with that. I think mutually assured destruction generally kind of keeps us safe. Only takes one nutter though, right?
True.
Good question though. Brian Keane, are noodles the same thing as pasta? They are both made from wheat and dried. And I'm not talking about instant noodles. Noodles, yes, they're a type of pasta, right? It's all about, the name of pasta is about the cut of the pasta and how it's shaped. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Really sensible, needed questions, obviously. Thank you. Amphia, here we go. Let's see if this makes any sense. Does anyone want to add thermal and Gen 3 tube night vision monocular scopes to own the night when the lights go out? Thermal vision and stuff like that. Anyone have that as part of the preps?
I mean,
I've got night vision
goggles. Oh, sorry, Brian.
On you go, mate. No, on you go, mate. You're all good.
I got a pair of night vision goggles, just a bog standard pair I managed to pick up off eBay. A guy was selling them on a vintage line, and I've checked them all over. They work pretty damn good. But I got a pair of night vision goggles only for the sole fact of, if shit hits the fan, I've got to go out and forage for things and say my flashlight's charging, or I haven't got any other form of flashlight or something like that on me. I'll take them with me then. But there is like a precious commodity that I managed to save for. It wasn't an essential prep, but...
Hey, my corporal said this is your night vision goggles. All right?
Eat your carrots, you'll see better in the dark.
You've got to think, what is he going to use them for, innit? You know, I know I haven't got any, but boys around here use a lot of night vision for obviously shooting, foxing that.
Yeah.
Thermals they don't use so much because you can't tell what that thermal image is. There's been a few fatalities in mid Wales because people have shot what they think is a deer or a fox because on the thermal camera, and it's ended up being a farmer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Night vision, yeah, night vision. Some of them only work if you need low light. So if it's total darkness, they won't work.
Did nobody
So-
ask the question what the farmer was doing running across his field on all fours? Did nobody ask that question?
Well, no, at a certain distance, all you can see is some
dot,
sort of thermal image in it.
Yeah.
So what is the use for them? What are you going to use them for? Are you really going to go out in the middle of the night? With the thermal cameras or your night vision? Not
for
really.
me, it's more about security.
Yeah.
The chances of, and it would depend on the situation. Rather than advertising that we've got power and we've got light pollution everywhere, if you had a power issue, it would be tactically advantageous to have some passive night vision on and see who's walking about.
If you're the only one who's got them, then you got the advantage, isn't it? So if it's everybody else got them, you have the advantage.
The problem is as well, depending on how much you spend. So the ones I've got weren't particularly expensive. So in low light conditions, they'll work to a level. But if you want to get any sort of function in like pitch black, you've got to use the IR designator that's built in. And as soon as you put that on, anybody else with night vision, it's just drawn a bit of line right to you. So that as long as you're aware of how they work and what your expectations are, I mean, I wouldn't spend like £4 or £5 on Gen 3 night vision or anything like that. A couple £100 on something that will do a job to a level. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. As I said, you got to think about what you want them for.
Yeah.
What is it you want them for? Yeah,
Clay pigeon shooting at night time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lad that he was the only one. He had a night vision scope at a 48-hour airsoft event. Oh, we had fun that evening.
Yeah.
The only person with it, it was an advantage in that situation.
I was at Coatpole Down in 2008 at an airsoft thing, and I had it on a replica SAW 249 on the block of flats in Coatpole Down, where they've got the sangers built inside them. I was on the 4th floor of that looking through a night vision sight, just letting rip. I went through 18,000 BBs in a night. It was wicked.
How many batteries did you go through?
Oh, God, about 3 or 4, mate. It was brilliant.
Fun and games. My thermal cloak can't be seen on IR night vision. Cost me £200.
That's why he's elusive.
He's very elusive. He's got a thermal cloak. There you go.
What are you going to say to the police when they see you with your cloak on the ladder looking in somebody's window, though?
You can't see me. I'm elusive. But she can. Community is key, but space is limited. Would you prioritize skills like a doctor, surgeon over friends and family for long-term SHF TF situation? I suppose Wishful Bumblebee's talking about taking them in. Alan, would you prioritize people with skill sets over useless long-distance family members, or are you not that cold-hearted?
There's plenty of things I would prioritize over some of my family members.
All right,
starting with another can of beer.
This is a prepper channel, not Jeremy Kyle. We're not going.
It's a tricky question because I mean, what does that mean, really? I mean, are we talking about you're in a castle and it's got a capacity of 20, and you can only let a certain number of people through the door? I mean, obviously, a doctor is a useful person to know. So that's a useful skill set, or a surgeon, especially a surgeon. Would I prioritize them over a family member or a friend? Well, probably not. No, I mean, they wouldn't be my family or friends otherwise. And it depends how close of a family member is. It's it's a strange question because you would have to be very specific about what we are talking about. Are you on a life raft and it can only hold 10 people? and they're in the water, and you have to sort of save a certain person. I understand the premise.
There was plenty of room on that floating door for Jack and Rose. I don't care what anyone fucking says.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the premise, but see, to be honest, even from a moral point of view, if you were to exclude family and friends, and you were just to say, and you did only have, like, say, a premises and resources that could only take, say, 50 people, are you really going to be saying to the crowd, "Tell me your occupation" before you can come in?
Brian was on our scenario.
Everybody's a doctor.
Yeah. It'd be a case of a doctor of what? Psychology? Goodbye.
Listen, I'm not a gynecologist, but I'll have a bloody good look. No.
It's not just that. The fact is, how would you prove it? Because anyone could turn around and say, "Oh, actually, I've got such and such in being a cardiologist or a brain surgeon."
This is why I stockpile 10 copies of the board game Operation, right? If they can't do it, that's it.
Well, think of it this way: you've got plenty of simulation hours. You're perfectly well qualified.
The thing about
I've got a
doctors,
multi-tool.
I actually know a couple of doctors, and there is a big difference between, like, a GP and a surgeon. To a lot of people, they think a doctor's like a catch-all. It really isn't. If it was a case of the GP or the surgeon, I'm taking the surgeon.
Yeah.
Every time I'm taking a vet before I take a GP. No disrespect to GPs. That's a more technical job than I can do. But I would take the vet before I would take a GP.
Yeah. Lee, you must have had some thought into this, because obviously you've got a place there that is not just people know where you are, otherwise business wouldn't be great.
Yeah.
So you must have took this into account. Are you expecting, if something happened, are you expecting people to turn up and stuff like that? Is that thoughts gone through your head?
Yeah, well, I've had a chat with a few boys, especially a few years ago when it was first starting up, and there's a group, they'd be the first ones to the door, because some useful lads, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And yes, of course you're gonna welcome your family, but you have to bring something to the table. You can't have freeloaders. So even if they're family, you think, yeah, you can come in, whatever, and you've got food for you to eat, but you've got to do something for it. You've got to work for it. Freeloaders I wouldn't have. And if it comes to people with certain skills, are you going to chuck your brother-in-law out because the doctor come in or something else? Probably not, isn't it? So I don't know. Yeah, I'd be family first, I would have thought, and friends.
Yeah.
And then you got to think, right? A surgeon. Yeah, I'll take you. But what's the likelihood you're going to need a surgeon? Unless someone really hurts themselves. Are you going to need someone who's does cardiology or does heart surgery? Probably not.
And are they ever going to be in the environment where it's clean enough to do and stuff like that? But basically, we're going to be doing battlefield triage, right? Morphine, no morphine, write off. It's as simple as that.
But if it's an electrical engineer who can fix your solar system, he might be a bit more handy than a heart surgeon.
Yeah.
So you just got to think about it. And
if you think about the ship's doctors and the Civil War type doctors, those kind of guys, especially ship doctors back in the the tall ship days, they were the most invaluable people, absolutely invaluable. I would have one of those guys as a skill set above almost anybody else.
I would not have a Civil War doctor. You'd be like, oh, I've got a bit of an infection in this nail. It's like, take some antibiotics. No, let's get his leg off.
But in them situations, the casualties there are from a certain scenario when you're fighting, whatever. Are you going to see them sort of scenarios? You're probably going to, if you're in a homestead sort of situation in SHTF, you're probably going to find just some blunt trauma, someone falling off a ladder, or worst case scenarios,
falling out of a window.
Cut themselves with a chainsaw or whatever in it.
I mean, it's the trauma stuff that's the problem, because I mean, if you're in a world where it's 28 years later type scenario, a normal
after you.
A normal doctor who prescribes medicine to you isn't that much use, to be honest, because there's no medicine to prescribe. That's effectively what those kind of doctors are.
I've sat with my GP while he's Googled my symptoms.
Yeah. I mean, I've used the NHS twice in 10 years, and both times they misdiagnosed me, and Google saved me practically. So
enough said there.
That's more to do with the NHS than doctors, though, I would say.
Mrs.
Don't get
RP
me-
used to work for the NHS.
Yeah,
And it's
I'm
just
not going to
about-
jump on that wagon because they've saved my life, so I can't slate them in any way.
They've got a
And,
lot to
they've-
answer for then, haven't they?
Yeah. The reason I'm torturing you all, blame the NHS.
Brian, they're the reason he converted from Pepsi to cola.
See, they've got no
Yeah.
answers.
I know.
They said if
But
you want to live longer, stop drinking that Pepsi fucking
just
poison.
before that question does disappear, though, there is actually a scenario going on at the moment. You can kind of use as a good scenario in a sense. Look at all the hospitals in Gaza. Look at how they've got different surgeons, but it's not just surgeons anymore. You've got GPs rolling in there now helping out. You've got vets rolling in there helping out. There's your idea, the situation similar to what we were just talking about. You know, for them, their shit is already at the fan, and they've got vets, GPs, and surgeons all bundling into what hospitals are left.
Yeah, I mean, knowledge is power at the end of the day. So
It
no
is.
matter which, if you've gone through the study to become a doctor, no matter what area of medicine you've gone through, you've had to do a certain amount anyway. So they're always going to be an invaluable asset. But I think I'm with Lee. It's going to be family first. And if there's room for you and you're not going to be a completely useless drain on my resources, then yeah, there's probably a place for you.
You've
Yeah,
got to also
I'm
just
used
quickly.
to
You've got
that.
to if you think you're going to be in a situation where you're the one getting to pick and choose who comes into the castle, whether they're a doctor or a vet,
Mm.
what have you got to offer? Unless you own the castle, you know.
Yeah, listen.
The
There's
doctor's
only
going to
one
be
rule.
looking at
I'm
you
in
and
charge.
thinking,
There's only one rule. I'm in charge. That's the only rule. Will you guys do a video to show what is in your bug out go bag, not get home bag? Didn't I do that? Did I?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
doing one probably next week with that new bag because I need to kit it out anyway. So I'll do one next week.
Yeah,
My video's cute.
Lee's already done some great ones. You've already done bug out bags and that, haven't you, Lee?
Yeah, and I am going to do my own. I've never really shown my own bug out bag. So I have been promising to do that one, but I've got a lot of kit to review first. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show what I carry myself. It's not a lot. It's not like a few of the guys down in Derby last week, you know, where they're carrying, you know, 10 ton of stuff in the back.
Lee,
They've got-
maybe
they've
we
got-
try and
They've got Brian's RV strapped to the back practically.
Well, I said to one guy, I said, why just carry one bag when you can carry two? Because some of the guys are carrying like two bags. I thought, bloody hell, what is the thinking? I don't know, but yeah. So people have been asking for ages about what would I carry, and so I will be showing eventually. Yeah,
Lee,
As
can we
little as
can we
possible.
try and-
yeah.
Can we try and
Say again.
coerce you as a hint into the next video?
Sorry, I missed that.
Whoops. Sorry, it's because my mic decided to fall over.
Ah.
See, it's as drunk as I am now. Can we coerce you into finding a hint into what the next what video is going to be?
I don't even know myself really. I've got loads of kit I've got to review, and I've got to do it because the companies keep asking me about the videos. I've got like 3 episodes left of a New Dawn left.
Yeah.
To finish off, and I'll do a few other videos. I got a video coming up about crypto as well. New prep coin. It's a crypto for preppers.
I spoke to
Alright.
him today, Lee. I've spoke to him today. He's
Oh,
coming
right,
on the
yeah.
he's coming on the Prepper podcast, but he's about to go on an Arctic expedition. How mental's that? So
Oh,
he-
that's Andrew. That is Andrew.
yeah,
Yeah,
he won't be on the podcast till November, but he sent me a lot of details about that as well.
yeah. So it's because I'm teaming up with them, so that's gonna be pretty good. So I'll try and get it out as soon as I possibly can.
Mhm.
But one thing I don't have a lot of is time, and
Yeah.
otherwise I make a video every week, but or sometimes twice a week. But I just haven't got time to do it at the moment.
So what you
Time
need to
constraints
do,
of the pillar.
you all need to share Lee's content, get him up to over like 150,000 subscribers, then he can hire somebody to make the videos for him, and he just
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just always busy doing something. Yeah, and I'll plan. I'll do a video today, and then also something crops up, and I got to do that first. So, yeah, I just do it when I can.
It's the same with us. We're held up. We got videos ready to go up. I'm just waiting on my intro music to get sorted out, and that is taking forever.
I think we're all the same. Life gets in the way. Unless you're Brian,
Yeah.
then you're just a lazy ass YouTuber. He's a-
Yeah,
My intro sorted.
I've been off a month already.
you should have a back catalogue of content.
Yeah, I know. I've got to go see the surgeon on Tuesday, so I'll know whether I'm going to be getting an operation of my foot or not, or a cast, or Christ knows what else. So I'll know a bit more on Tuesday.
Good luck with it. Good luck with it. He told you, I'll sort you out. I've got some colloidal silver and multi-tool. That's all you need.
Yeah, but you didn't want to put it in my ankle. I know where you wanted to put it, and I'm sure that's not in a textbook.
It's
Don't
all
forget
part
the
of the process. Trust the process. Elusive Dartmoor. Will you guys do video short? Yeah, we've already seen that one. Sorry, I'm clicking the same things twice. There we go. Question for Brian. Are you going to invest in the clear solar panels that can be attached to windows?
Not till the price comes down. So you can actually buy windows, and you have been able to do it for a couple of years, that they've got a... If you ever remember Ford, when they brought out the heated windscreens, you could see the very fine wires through the windscreens.
Yeah.
So the solar panels have had PV arrays with laminate sections in them for years that you can see through. But they're extortionate. I mean, it's like funny money. And also, they're small. Your average window, they're not particularly huge, whereas a 500 watt panel is about, 8 by 4 foot. So you're not getting the surface area, and you're not getting the orientation, so that because they're flat. So there's a lot of reasons why I would never want them.
Yeah.
However,
unless they came down to a certain price point.
yes, because it's economies of scale. If you've got a house that's south facing, you've got patio doors, and you've got like 6 windows facing there, and the price point is good, then it makes sense. But you'd still probably be cheaper slapping them on the roof instead. So the answer is not until they come down a lot. But there's lots of new solar panels coming down the line now. The Perskovsky ones, or however you pronounce it, they're the up and coming ones at the moment. So the efficiency's jumped up about 8% on them alone. So better with those.
There you go. There you go. All things solar. The bug out weekend dog friendly.
Yeah, we have dogs on site. Yeah.
He asked about the kids, so I'm not sure if he sat there deciding should I take the dogs or the kids. I'm not sure.
All I say is that they've got to be kept on leads the whole weekend, and the dogs as well. Yeah.
There you go. I'm bringing my little one, so your dog can babysit my little one. There we go. Problem solved. Everyone's a winner. How big is the prepping community getting in the UK, as we like to keep low-key, different to some countries? I think that's kind of disappearing. We're trying to push that out. That's what I started the channel purely based on it's not a secret society. You can send me email death threats or all you want. And that's not me exaggerating. Brian saw the emails. I sent him the emails that I've received.
Yeah, I've had them. It's fun.
Yeah. But I think it's growing because I've gone from 0 to 10,000 in a year, right? And that's not for my awesome good looks and charisma. It's purely because there's it definitely isn't. So it's purely down to an interest. Lee's probably the best person to ask on this. You've been doing this for a long time, Lee, and when I've spoke to you in the past, you've said it kind of comes in waves when the media wants to do an interview and there's a bit of an interest and then it disappears again. But recently, have you seen it getting more and more?
Oh yeah. I've got a community database. And there must be there's hundreds of names on that, and all over the UK. And I send a lot of emails out today. And all I do is I put a page, which is say for the northeast or southwest, and on there is a list of people, and they can contact each other to form their own groups, and that's growing and growing all the time. And you can also see obviously with the prepper meets, isn't it? There's more interest in that, and they're spreading out. So obviously there's interest there, and the people are coming on board with the communities, which is key, isn't it? I think as someone said before, the more people are prepared, the less chance people are going to turn savage, if something happens.
Should the government do more, though?
Oh, the government are always a waste of time, and
but every other government's issuing pamphlets. Should ours be doing more? Yeah.
But I don't think it's the government's job, to be honest. I prefer to have little government as possible. I think people should be left to get on and live their own lives. But so I don't want any government interference, because they couldn't organise a fucking piss up in a brewery, could they? So they will do stuff every now and again just to show face.
You can't say that anymore because we've got evidence they can definitely organise a piss up during a lockdown.
Oh yeah.
Lee.
So yeah, like the recent ones they were doing, they was issuing out, pamphlets or whatever, and that's only because every other government was doing it, and then they thought they better do something themselves. But a lot of it is just common sense. Isn't it? So as a community, I think it is growing, and that can only be a good thing. Yeah,
definitely.
Can I just bounce off that for just a second off Elusive's question and talking of the government needing to do more and whatnot? Lee, because you have the bug out shop itself, even though prepping is gaining a bit more popularity, have you noticed any rise in nuisance people coming into the store?
No. What do you mean by nuisance people?
So like there was I won't name names obviously, but there's a place towards Bristol way, I should say, that I go to get some prepping gear. And
you fool! You're going to the wrong shop.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a betrayer. But to be fair, it's because it's a family friend as well. But they've noticed more so in the last 8 months, more of a rise of people who've gone on and trolled a load of channels to do with prepping, going in store and basically saying it's a load of nonsense, prepping's a load of nonsense, and they basically shatter glass, go in, just cause a load of going around and
what is wrong with people?
Yeah,
no, it's just what they said. They've noticed a rise in a lot of people who are against prepping actually coming out and saying it.
How can you be physically or morally against prepping, right?
No idea.
I understand when you sit back and go, ha, them guys are crazy. Somebody's just posted the Cornwall meet on the Moss group because one of their newspapers put a thing. Read the comments in that. They're hilarious. One of the comments about me was I thought Sinead O'Connor was dead. Honestly, Mrs. Prepper sat there laughing away. I didn't know what it was, and she was reading all the comments talking about preppers. But nobody's
nothing
going
compares to you.
Hey, somebody else said they were trying to scan my Shamag because they thought it was a QR code. But how can you be? I mean, I could get that. I get the disdain, and I get it's more prefer to bury the head in the sand, people. But how could you be physically against it? Like try and stop other people prepping? I don't understand that mentality. Unless you're directly in Starmer's first party, I don't.
I think the same people.
There's some
turn around and say you're a hoarder.
Yeah.
Even though you don't do that. Sorry, on you go.
I was just going to say
that they don't understand anything about it, so they know very little about it today. That's probably why they think it's stupid. They'll think it's stupid until the time comes and they actually need someone who's got supplies that they need.
There's definitely some countries that take it more seriously than the UK. So if you look at places like Switzerland or Finland or Poland, these are they're generally countries that are closer to Russia and things like that. So they have to be more orientated towards that kind of thing. But I mean, Switzerland's famously neutral all the time.
Sorry to interrupt, Alan. Sorry to interrupt, Alan. You say that, but French national TV was at the last meet to do an article to say how the British were more prepared than the French.
That's right. I saw a post up on Google about that.
But to be honest,
I think every country thinks that of other countries.
Well, I mean, the countries I named, the sort of Finlands and Poland and Switzerland and stuff like that, they're all sort of Nordic or on the periphery. So countries like the UK, France, to some extent Germany, Spain definitely hasn't got any interest in prepping. Portugal, I don't think they pay as much attention because there's a lot of other countries between them, so they don't really see much of an outside threat. There's definitely an increase in the prepping community I see online, especially compared to the sort of survivalist community. That's a very different community altogether. There's definitely an increase in prepping awareness. I mean, like somebody said earlier, it kind of goes on. There's a bit of a fashion trend. I remember when Ray Mears was a bit of a thing. Suddenly everybody was a bushcrafter, and then that went away.
The problem is the word survivalist has been synonymous with a lot of bad things. That's the reason
well, that's the other thing.
Avoid it.
Yeah,
Waco was survivalists. They didn't survive, so they failed on part one. survivalist has got a bad name because of that impression. However, if you go back far enough, survivalist was preppers.
Yeah.
And it developed over that time. I've done a video, it's quite a long time ago now on the channel, but if you search for history of prepping, I've done a video about it and how it all came about. And it was all the same thing.
I remember a long time ago when blogging was a thing, I wrote a blog about how the Unabomber ruined it for us. You know, because pretty much the entire American media describes the Unabomber as a survivalist who lived in a shack in the woods and was a nutter, you know,
Oops.
building bombs and pissing in jars or whatever. Since then, it kind of tarnished that reputation.
But that's mainstream media, right? That's mainstream
Yeah.
media that will jump on that point. This is why we say to people when media's at these events, try to keep it like, if you look at any of my interviews on Joe or on the BBC or anything like that, it's always the level-headed side of it. I never turn around and say I'm going to defend my home and shoot millions of people with a crossbow and stupid stuff like that.
That came up. Fuck me.
I turn, Brian. I turn around and I say,
I'm going to hurt people. Well, I was pulling my hair out. What little I fucking got left?
No, but it's true. It's about giving that right impression, right? That's what it's all about. Because it only takes one. Like you say, Unabomber, for example, to tarnish that entire name. And this is why the first question on the Prepper podcast is, are you a prepper? Because there's still a label associated with that name through extreme channels in the US, through Godfather's channel over here. There's still a name that just, you know.
The US influence has definitely been a major factor, especially in YouTube. You know, YouTube is an American thing. Most people on YouTube are Americans, and they have a community of what I would call militias or militaries. They're not really preppers. They're not survivalists. They're a different thing altogether. You know, they're militarized civilians, which to me is a different thing. It's a different category, which is not a bad thing.
That's the category is coming.
It gets mixed up.
Coming.
I've always got the worry that becomes a fashion in the UK as well. You know, where it becomes overly militarized. Because I've got lots of opinions about this, and I've always been wary of the people. Like, I watch these American channels and they will put people down based on what their previous background was. Well, what do you mean you weren't a Green Beret? Therefore, I'm not interested in your survival credentials because you didn't, you weren't a Navy SEAL or something. And it's a race to the bottom because it then just becomes an ever increasing. Well, I was this, and
but we know a guy, Alan.
Survival.
But we know a guy, Alan. We know the guy on the balcony. Are you not listening?
Yeah,
Honestly.
I'm a gravy seal. I've had free bentos.
It's one of those.
On that
things
note, I'm going to bow out, guys. It's been a blast,
problem,
but I will
Brian.
catch up with you soon. Nice to see you all again. Cheers.
Brian,
it's all down to what we said before about expertise, right? It's like people have it from different things, and I know lads that are in the military that I wouldn't trust with a pocket knife, and they did like 12 years in the military. They're still idiots. They're still useless. It's not always down to a label on that. So,
the military is a very useful thing, but from a survivalist point of view, it's bloody useless. They don't teach survival in the military.
No.
It's not part of training.
No, but they teach a level of discipline and stamina that you can put into most survival situations.
Very true. Very true.
So
they are giving you just the genuine basics.
Yeah. You're surrounded by bad guys with weapons, and the only way is to dress in drag. What would your drag names be? Brian left at the best time.
I got the best one for this.
Ben's already got a weekend name, obviously. He was straight in there.
If it was a drag name, I'd be Stardust Princess, and I would be in a frilly dress, and I would say, "Let's dance, pretty boys," and they would run the away.
Okay, Alan, would you like to beat that one?
Well, I don't know. Ali Savage has a bit of a nice ring to it, you know. I was always a big fan of Lily Savage when what was it, Paul O'Grady used to do that character. It was funny as hell. Loved that character.
Yeah.
Lee, have you thought about a drag name?
I'd rather go out fighting and dress up as a drag queen. Yeah.
And for me, I will not say anything because somebody will clip it. And it'll be on the
I'll just
internet.
go with
forever.
Alan Carr then for you, is it, Mike? The Tooth Fairy.
Oh, well, Stardust Prepper. There we go. What is your dream land vehicle to get you to your dream long-term location after SHTF? I don't know about dream vehicle, but I've always wanted a ferret, which is an old British military vehicle which you can make road legal very easily. It's a bitch to drive, though. It's not like a normal car to drive, but I've always fancied one of them. Any thoughts in putting military vehicles into the bug out, Lee?
I have thought about it, and you do get occasional, military vehicle on some of the auction sites, so it would be pretty cool. But you want a vehicle that's reliable. It doesn't matter what it is, really. If you're thinking off road, you obviously want a 4x4 or something, but you want something that's going to work. That's your dream vehicle. And unfortunately, like some of the modern vehicles, they're not that reliable. You can't fix them for a start. They're built these days, so you can't fix the bloody things. Your computer bloody running.
My EV, you can't open the bonnet. You can't open the bonnet on it. You've got 60 kilowatt battery in there. You just can't mess with it.
Yeah. So I've got myself a Ford Ranger, and that'll go just about anywhere. But realistically, are you gonna be off the roads? Are you going cross country? So any vehicle will do as long as it'll get you to where you want to go. Yeah. You could say, oh yeah, I'd have a big RV and then it's got bloody gun ports and all that, But yeah, you're not living in the real world if you're thinking that sort of vehicle. You just want something.
As long as you're the mechanic and you know absolutely everything about that vehicle, right? My granddad always said, as soon as you buy a vehicle, buy the Haynes manual to match. It's as simple as that. And they don't make Haynes manuals for new vehicles now. So
well, that's what I said. You can't bloody fix your vehicles these days. They make it impossible to fix them.
It's all computers and special screwdrivers.
Yeah.
This is it. Well, I'll be my ferret, so I'll be all right. Alan, have you got a vehicle that you'd have as your dream?
Well, if money was no object, I'd have a Jeep Gladiator. I've always been a big fan of the Wranglers. I love Jeeps, but they're not the most efficient of vehicles. And if you were genuinely looking at an all-round vehicle that you thought was going to be good for a bug-out type situation, there's the Jimny. It's a very small 4x4 vehicle, petrol, fantastic. Tons of farmers use them. Suzuki Jimny. That's what you should be looking at if you were genuinely looking at something that you can maintain. It's relatively cheap. They're very reliable. Farmers love them for a reason, and they take petrol, which is quite rare for a 4x4 vehicle.
I've got too many kids; they wouldn't fit in it.
No, it's true.
I'm gonna have to get an old German half track for the amount of children I've got. Ben, have you put any thoughts into a bug out vehicle?
Yes, and I'm not allowed mine. Mrs. RP will say so.
Why?
But mine would be, if money was no issue, same as Alan, it'd be a Hetzer from Germany. An old World War II Hetzer.
How reliable is that going to be now?
It doesn't matter about reliability, because if it breaks down, it's a great little bug out location because it's at least armored to a degree.
Yeah, but if it broke down 3 yards from your house, it's not exactly a bug out location, is it?
Well, I mean, it gives me an extra 3-second head start.
People have started naming cars in the chat. Let us know in your chat which your dream car is. Amphia says Fiat Panda 4x4 was pretty handy.
Yeah.
I've got a Mitsubishi Delica 94 plate run on veg oil. Wow, there we go. He's way ahead of the game. Hilux says Horwich. Pete agrees with the Hilux. Toyota Land Cruiser, best in the world other than Hilux. Japanese 4x4s are a good choice.
I think that the Hilux is pretty much the best 4x4 in the world, without a doubt. Right, I know 2 people that have them, and they are absolutely indestructible. Better than any Ford Rangers or Raptors or anything like that. Hilux, hands down.
Right, but if whatever vehicle you decide to get, learn it learn the vehicle, because the mechanic's not going to be there. If you break down and you've got to call somebody for a simple screw or something like that, then in a bug out situation, you're going to be completely knackered. All right. So learn your vehicle. I've seen too many preppers that are like, well, I can't go to this meet because I've got vehicle problems. I've got to send it to the garage and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's not a reliable bug out vehicle. If it's knackered in peace times 24/7, then it's not reliable. EMP proof land crab. There you go. So yeah, cool. Good question. Thank you, Purple Ale. Appreciate that one. Last one here from Elusive Dartmoor Survival. Kind of a laugh. They're doing the emergency alert on phones on 7th of September. Yeah, have you heard about this? Has everyone heard about this? I assume everyone's heard the alert things. For me, it's a great filming opportunity because I can, film random family members' shocked reaction when it goes off and then use it in a later video when I'm pretending something's happened.
I didn't get it on the last time they did this. I was fully expecting, my phone to go off, and it never happened. I was
mine didn't go off either.
I was disappointed by that.
You've actually got it turned on some phones. I actually read it on the Gov website. If you go and read on Gov's website about this test on the 7th of September, there's a little small section that states if you go in on iPhones, go in on the settings, you can turn it off or turn it on.
Yeah, lots of people did that after the last one.
Yeah.
And lots of people I know who are preppers did that in the last one. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want them to know. I don't want them to be able to ping my phone. I'm like, it's Intel. It's free Intel.
Yeah.
Leave it on.
Yeah. Why would you not want that?
Thank you to Colin, who's just brought another space on the wheel for Sunday for the bug out raffle. That's just come through. Thank you, Colin. Which will be fun. Cool. I think that's it for questions. Do you remember when they did one of the people in Hawaii? Yeah. Oh, I saw a thing about that the other day. That was did anybody else see that?
No, I
remember it. I do remember that.
So they put an alert out basically saying that missiles were inbound to the island of Hawaii, and it was like a test that went out wrong. It never said test on it or anything like that. So people literally thought game over. And like all sorts of chaos happened with it.
They do also give a bit of a false sense of security as well. I haven't had an alert on my phone, so everything must be okay. So I'll just do nothing.
Yeah.
It's a single point of intel. Use more than one. I'm going to say thank you to my panel this evening because I'm going to call it a night because we're nearly hitting the 2-hour mark and I could feel my eyes closing after this working week. Thank you to Ben. Ben, do you want to quickly tell people about your channel before you go?
Yeah, same as always, people. Renegade Preppers UK, me and Mrs. RP. We've got our videos ready to go. As soon as the intro music's all ready, we'll be doing up our Bug Out Bag episodes.
Lee, you're a bigger YouTuber than me. They already all know you, but quickly tell them about the Bug Out YouTube channel before you go.
Yeah, what's it called? I don't even know what it's called these days. It's Bug Out Shop channel, I think it's called. I don't do many videos as I should do, but there are videos on there to look at. I cover everything from hints, tips, and gear reviews. Yeah, that's it.
Hey. There you go. And honestly, go and check out Lee's channel. The comedy value on some of the videos is brilliant. Great sense of humor. Great guy. Alan, quickly tell us about the World Survivalist before you go.
Yeah, you can find me just at World Survivalist. It used to be mostly just camping videos and documenting that kind of stuff. There's kit reviews on there as well. I'm going to start including more prepper related type things. And recently I've had more people saying to me I should demonstrate more skill, so there's going to be skill-based things on there like traps and all this kind of stuff, so that'll come in the future.
Awesome. And I want to see the review of that water thing when you get it, so that should be cool as well.
Yeah, I'll be there at some point.
Miss Worms posted everyone's channel's links during the chat anyway, because she's an absolute awesome moderator. So big thank you to Miss Worm and Evil and all my other moderators in the chat. Don't forget about the Scottish Prepper Meet. It's selling out fast. Don't forget about the Bug Out sponsored raffle that's for Help for Heroes. All them links are in the description below. Thank you to all my panel tonight. Thank you to everyone on the network that makes this possible. And we'll see you all in another video really soon. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.